What a fucking game that was, huh? What a fucking game that was. And I apologize to those of you who are listening to this podcast at a later time and you're driving around with your children in the car and you're like, you know what, kids, let me put on the Suns Jam Session podcast. Let's hear what John Voida has to say about this Suns game against the Clippers last night. Oops. didn't even give me a chance to tell him earmuffs, did you, Voida? Sorry, guys. Little excited after this one. I will be going solo. Matthew got a migraine. Horrible night to get a migraine because this one was different. It doesn't change our ultimate fate for this season. I don't believe so. There's so many of these type of games that need to occur for the Suns to be relevant in the postseason picture. But there's something electric about watching a Phoenix Suns game that has you pumping your fist after key plays in the final moments. Seeing your team fight, showing effort and grit in those late game situations, it's the kind of passion you can get behind. It's what creates that bond, that connection that only truly winning can bring, and that brings us together and why we watch night in and night out. Against the Clippers, I found myself fist pumping once more as the Suns win 119 to 117 in a true comeback fashion. When was the last time you saw the Suns were in a game late hitting big shot after big shot? When was the last time someone like Collin Gillespie came off the bench and made a true winning impact? Kevin Durant goes for 19 points in the fourth quarter. Sure, you could point to last Friday against the Pelicans, but let's be honest, that game was a gift and it wasn't even close late. This one, it felt different. There's something special about these kind of games, the ones that pull you back in, no matter how bleak the season might seem. Even in a year that feels all but lost, there's an undeniable energy, a spark that comes from watching your team play quality basketball. And that's the feeling that keeps you coming back for more, Jamsters. So thank you for joining the Suns Jam Session podcast again. My name, John Voida, Bright Side of the Sun managing editor. I will be going solo tonight, so I will be relying on you, the chat, those watching along live with me, to interact with me, to answer some of my questions, my rhetorical questions, because I'm not bouncing these off of anybody other than you. There's no Matthew next to me to talk of these things out. But let's talk about this victory over the Los Angeles Clippers, sweeping them, mind you. Sweeping the Clippers on the season. That's 4 consecutive games. Pop them if you got them, motherfuckers. Sorry, earmuffs, kids, motherfuckers. Suns Brew is what I'm rocking tonight. Nice 4 Peaks Gauche. And sip it. It tastes so good after victory, man.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.
Hell yeah, dude. Fucking a victory for the Suns, 29-33, which you can enjoy or you can get frustrated. It's like, why couldn't we just beat Charlotte and Brooklyn, man? Like, we'd be so much better off in the standings. But a win nonetheless, and one that comes in such an epic comeback form where the middle part of this game, you just felt like you were in the same hamster wheel. Outscored like 71-46 in those 2 quarters. You're like, the Suns they don't got it, man. They just no defense. I mean, Stan Van Gundy was ripping the Suns on the TNT broadcast, absolutely eviscerating their effort on defense. It was a layup line for the Clippers and Ivica Zubac, Kawhi Leonard. And so you thought in the middle of this game that this game was done. And for all intents and purposes, it was. I mean, they entered that fourth quarter down, I believe it was 19 points. And I know that they were down at least 19 points in the fourth quarter at one time. And so it brings me to my first question, for this one. Obviously, no Matthew. So I'm just going to ask myself this. When was it over? I mean, it felt over numerous times, right? It felt over when the Suns were down in that third quarter and just getting punked. The second quarter, I felt it was done then. The Suns scored 19 points in the second quarter. Now, keep in mind, Durant himself scored 19 in the fourth. They scored 19 in the second, and the Clippers scored 41 points. So going down, entering halftime, they're down 65-49. And you're like, dude, this team's dead. They had a good first quarter. They outscored them 30-24. It was a great close to the end of the quarter. Good defense, a steal, a pass out to Royce O'Neal, 3-ball. I mean, it just looked, it's like, okay, defense, man. Defense counts. Effort counts. Ball security counts. And they got in their own way. That second quarter, only 3 turnovers, but they gave up points on all of those turnovers. And also the Clippers shot ridiculous in that second quarter, 77%. They were 17 of 22 in the second. They missed 5 total shots, the Clippers did in that second. And so it felt like it was over then. And then after the end of the third quarter, where the Suns were outscored 30-27, so it didn't feel like a horrible quarter, but it felt worse than it was because the Clippers scored 22 points in the paint in the third quarter. And the Suns had 27 total points. So that third quarter was them just abusing us on the interior to Ivica Zubac again and again and again. And it was both Nick Richards and Mason Plumlee who were just taking turns getting bashed because weak side defense, rotations, things of that nature just weren't translating to success on the defensive end for the Suns. And then the fourth quarter. Let's go over some of the stats in the fourth quarter. Points in the paint. Suns outscored the Clippers 12-8. And mind you, the Suns scored 43 points in that fourth quarter, 43-22. Bench points 19-5. We'll get into why. Fast break points 14-0. The Clippers only had 2 turnovers in the fourth. It's not like we were getting out and creating fast break points off of turnovers. There was one. Oh yeah, no, we had 5 points off their 2 turnovers, but they only had the 2 turnovers. Those 14 fast break points came because the Suns were hustling. They were getting stops on the defensive end, then boom, getting the ball out and playing with speed, because that's been the challenge with this Suns team this entire season. Their lack of defensive intensity has repercussions outside of just lack of defense. It doesn't equate to easy offense. When your defense plays well, it equates to the easy offense. It's one of those things that just makes you want to rip your beard hair out, because if they just gave a shit more on the defensive end, it's going to equate to such easy offense because this is such a great offensive team. Continuing with some statistics in that fourth quarter, the Clippers were 1 of 7 from beyond the arc. The Suns were 6 of 9. The Clippers shot 30%. They went 6 of 20. The Suns 13 of 19, 68.4% from the field. But the most important stat in that fourth quarter, it's easy.
Ooh, dang, stat me.
The Suns in the fourth quarter had a grand total of 0 turnovers. 0 turnovers. Defense and ball security. Defense and ball security. Again, one of the reasons why, as a Suns fan, we're so continually frustrated with the performance of this team. Because if they could just focus on defense and ball security, look at what happens. Look below me. Look at that final score. That's a win. That's what happens with defense and ball security. Because the offense, it is designed to be an elite offense. Coach Bud, play random. You can play random when you have defense and ball security. And he doesn't have a drop. But Collin Gillespie was a game changer in this one. If you turn this off early, if you said fuck it in the halftime or fuck it after the third, and you're waking up today and you're turning on the podcast and seeing oh shit, the Suns won. What happened? Well, Bradley Beal got injured in the first half. Remember, he was questionable to play in this game with a left calf strain. And he didn't return in the second half. So that vacated some minutes. And in the third quarter, Collin Gillespie played 2 minutes and 39 seconds and had really no impact in the game. He overall was a net zero in the plus minus, 0 points, 0 rebounds, all down the line. But that fourth quarter, Collin Gillespie, he hit some big shots, right? He was 4 of 6 from the field in the fourth, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc with a massive 3. The 3 that sealed the game, in my opinion. When everybody collapsed on Kevin Durant and Kevin just threw it out to Gillespie wide open, he confidently just stroked it and hit it. 10 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, a plus 21 in the fourth because he played all but 3 seconds. Devin Booker and Kevin Durant played the entire fourth each. They were also both a plus 21. But the key was the disruption that Collin Gillespie brought. It was disruption on the defensive end. It was getting his hand in there, and he didn't get credit for any steals. He didn't get credit for any block shots, but his hands were active. When Ivica Zubac was going up for a rebound, Collin Gillespie was crashing towards the glass and trying to disrupt that rebound. So maybe Collin didn't get it, but a member of his team did. And that's what's important. Too often, we don't see this team crash to the glass, right? And Collin's not the biggest dude, but he was out there hustling, playing with grit, and I can see it now in bright, shiny lights. Play more Gillespie. I already see the article I'm writing for tomorrow. Play more Gillespie. I want to see more of that. I want, Khalid in the chat, make Collin a drop now. Yeah, maybe I will. Something will come to me between now and then. TF timepiece. Gillespie's youth and speed was huge. Yes. What does this team lack? Youth and speed. What does Gillespie have? Youth and speed. The big warhog. If we push the pace, we win. Playing slow is a recipe for failure. We're a really good half-court offense team, but it's a half-court defense team we sometimes have challenge with. Peter Papalardo. Gillespie. All balls and guts. It sounds horrible, but it's true. But yeah, that was a really great performance by Collin Gillespie. Number 12 out there. John Stockton-esque? I don't know. Steve Nash 2.0? Who knows? We've seen what we've seen from him is a spark that is going to really ignite the disease of what if for us moving forward. The disease of what if is whenever somebody plays poorly and we lose a game, we sit around as fans and we go, well, what if so-and-so played? Like, what if we got more Gillespie minutes? Would that have equated to it did against the Clippers? See, that's my case in point. And it's a losing argument for anybody and a winning argument for everybody because everybody who makes the case thinks that they're right, but it's never something you can prove, so you can never prove them wrong, so therefore they will always think they're right. And I'm guilty of it as well. I'm like, God, if we only played him a few more minutes, maybe something different could have happened because obviously the result we wanted to be different. And there's going to be games upcoming where the Suns are going to lose and we're going to say, hey, we need youth, we need speed, we need grit, we need disruption. And Collin Gillespie can provide those. And we saw that tonight. We've seen it in little stretches when he's had his minimal playing time thus far this season. And it's not going to always be true because if it was always true, he would be starting somewhere. But he's young enough. He's skilled enough. He's foundationally put in a place to be successful because he's a Villanova kid, right? All those kids who come out of Villanova are just fundamentally stable guys. So it'll be interesting, obviously, to see what happens moving forward. But on tonight, on the 4th of March, Collin Gillespie had himself a hell of a game. Another guy who had himself a hell of a game.
Who the heck are you?
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. Y'all know who I am.
Did anybody see a sniper? Did anybody see anything?
I'm one of the best players to ever play the game.
He didn't lead all scorers. No, that was Ivica Zubac, who had 35 points. Zoo was unstoppable, man. 15 of 19. He was a cheat code. But Kevin Durant in the fourth quarter was a cheat code. Now, for the entire game, 34 points, 10 of 22 from the field, 4 of 11 from beyond the arc, and 10 of 10 from the free throw line. He also had 7 rebounds. He had 4 assists, only a couple turnovers, had 2 block shots and a steal, a plus 16 overall. But that fourth quarter, I mean, you take away the fourth quarter, and this is an average night for KD and not a great shooting night, right? Because in the fourth, he goes 6 of 9. Gady, all right. 5 3-point attempts. He hit 3 of them. 4 of 4 from the line. A block shot, an assist, a rebound. And that assist was probably the biggest assist of the game. As I mentioned, probably the biggest assist of the game, hitting Collin Gillespie. Just an absolute masterclass of a game by Kevin Durant in this one. And he's the one who started it in the fourth quarter. Fourth quarter, Suns have possession. He comes down, he hits a 3. The next possession on the defensive end, he picks off a pass, takes it down for a dunk. Next Suns possession, Clippers haven't scored yet. Boom, he buries another 3. A quick 8-0 run by KD right off the bat. And that's how you get back in these games. You have a quick run, and it was KD who led that charge and held the line the entire time and set the pace. And there's one thing that was making its rounds during the game, and that was the interaction between Coach Budenholzer and Kevin Durant. And the way that TNT showed it was Kevin Durant's walking to the bench. He's kind of yelling at Bud. Bud puts his hand on his forearm. KD kind of shakes it off and continues to kind of yell at him. And, KD does the kind of hands out thing. And they're like, oh, trouble's in Phoenix. They're not effectively communicating. And then they come back from break, and Stan Van Gundy makes a comment. He's like, oh, no, they look good after. He's like, I did that. He's like, I did that every game with every player. But people on Twitter start to, take that clip and go, everything's my group chat. My buddies are like, dude, things don't look right in Phoenix. This could be it. And I was telling him, like, listen, there's a lot of things wrong with Phoenix, clearly. But this isn't a situation that we should look at as a tipping point. And kudos to Cameron Cox at Channel 12, because he tweeted out the full video, and it showed them having that interaction, KD going to the bench, and then KD and Bud talking after they had the team had a quick conversation, and you could literally see them coming to an understanding on something. KD saw something that he didn't like. Budenholzer was trying to talk to him. He tried to explain it to him. He sat down, he got back up, and then they continued that conversation and came to a quality conclusion. They looked fine heading out of the timeout. And I just think that it's so important to, realize that some people are just taking that clip and trying to fortify a narrative. In my opinion, it just, show them 5 minutes later, like Cameron Cox did. And I'm glad that video surfaced, because I just didn't want to have to hear about that. Again, my buddies were saying that, and that's literally what I said in our chat. I'm like, dude, it's no big deal. And then once Cameron Cox tweeted out that full video, I sent it right to them too. I'm like, see, don't overread every situation. We have our issues. Don't get me wrong. We have our issues, but I just wouldn't use that as a tipping point. But a hell of a game by Kevin Durant. So kudos to you, KD, for playing the way that you did in this one and willing this team to victory. Because Collin Gillespie, yeah, he had a hell of a fourth quarter, but it was KD that led this effort. Grayson Allen, I appreciated his vocalness on the defensive end. You started to see that, and that was kind of present throughout the game. It wasn't always effective, but I mean, he had 24 minutes, 3 of 3 from the field, including 2 of 2 from beyond the arc, 8 total points. But I like to see that, because that's obviously been another narrative that is alive and well here in Phoenix, is it not? That this team doesn't communicate, that when the going gets tough, they shut up. The going was tough, and Grayson Allen was out there yelling about rotations on the backside and things of that nature. Again, the team wasn't necessarily effective in doing so, but to see communication is a step in the right direction. Is it a step too late? Yes. Should that kind of vocalization be present 20 games ago? Sure. I'd rather see it, though, than not, especially given the state of the Suns.
Vicky, the great Nick Richards. Richard means Dick, that's why he's Vicky, the great Nick Richards.
I still love that I explained that it's Richard means Dick on that one. A great game that you probably didn't even realize was Nick Richards tonight. 8 of 10 from the field, 16 points. Now, granted, he was a negative 16 in this game, but 16 and 7, I'll take that. Obviously, he was getting burned by Zoo, but so was everybody out there. But he had some quality possessions, especially late in this game. Both he and Mason Plumlee played just well enough to win, I feel. And that's obviously the final score, 119 to 117. They played just well enough to win. But it truly was a team effort, and it took a lot of people doing so. And Nick Richards was a part of that effort. Just a couple points in that fourth quarter, but they were key points. It's right when Devin Booker started to feel it, right? That great wraparound pass that hit Nick Richards for a wide open dunk. And that was one of those fist pumps, right? Those fist pump moments that we don't feel. I mean, there's if you ever watch a game with me, there's a few things that I do. And again, tonight, it's I felt like it's been so long since I've done these things. One, it's the late game baskets, pumping my fist. I'm like, shit, yeah. And then when we hit threes, I'll snap and throw up the three. I was like, boom. And that's what I did on the Collin Gillespie one. I was, snap threes. And it's just, it's nice to feel those things. It's nice to feel those things. Irish Roar in the chat. Can we please dissect what is wrong with Booger? How you missed 2 free throws to ice it. What's wrong with this guy? Wasn't the greatest Devin Booker game, was it, ladies and jamsters? Ended with a total of 17 points, 6 of 11 shooting, 1 of 4 from beyond the arc, and 4 of 8 from the free throw line. Did have 8 assists, did have 5 turnovers. I mean, Book has definitely been stuffing the stat sheet. Had a hard time saying that one. Stuffing the stat sheet, but not always in the right way as of late. What's wrong with him? I think some other members of this team, he's pressing. In all honesty, he's pressing. This team is desperate, and he's starting to press a little bit. And then the free throws, that's just unexcusable. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's unfortunate that he couldn't hit those free throws to essentially ice the game. And the team was in a Ivica Zubac putback away from going to overtime, which would have just been devastating, in my opinion, going to overtime. But Maya B, hey, what up, Maya B? Book will be all right, and I agree with that. Let's see what else I have in my notes here. Van Gundy roasting the shit out of the Suns defense, and rightfully so. The Suns started the game with as many points as they did turnovers, 4 points and 4 turnovers. That was fucking... This is interesting. This is something I haven't seen in some time. The Suns, at least early in the game, were sending double teams. I haven't seen the Suns send a lot of double teams this season. And they were sending them kind of late and half-assed, and it was opening up the offense for the Clippers because essentially it was making it, 5-on-4. But I like that they were sending double teams because, again, and this is how desperate we are this season, is we just want to see change. We want to see adjustments. We want to see, from a schematic standpoint, just something different. And that was different. It was different to see this team attempt double teams. And you could tell that they're not used to doing it. Because when you're starting to double Ivica Zubac, but you got Grayson Allen dropping from the weak side, but he's not coming in fast enough. And Zubac's like, oh shit, that guy's coming. Cool. I'm just going to pass it right to the guy that he was on. And he's going to tag a 3 on me. That's but again, they're trying things, and I'm okay with that. This guy.
And she said, you're not the only one, but you're the best, Bradley. Boom, boom.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because Bradley Beal is once again injured, came back for a game and a half, injured again. And again, it's the one thing that, given everything that's happened this season, health hasn't necessarily been a primary issue. It's definitely been an issue. But I at least will go as far as to say, we're not the same boat as the Mavs, right? I mean, that situation. Imagine being a Mavs fan right now. It sucks being a Suns fan right now. Don't get me wrong. A win's a win. Feels nice. We're still fighting for that play-in. We don't know if we'll get there. But the Mavs have just completely fallen apart in every possible way. Every major guy over there is injured. Luka's gone. Kyrie just blew out his ACL, which sucks because he's out for the whole season next year. I mean, that's a year-long injury, and it happened at the end of this year. Damn. Yeah, like Maya B says, they fucked. They are, and it sucks. Because, you want everyone to be healthy. But in their stead comes an opportunity for the Suns, right? Because the Mavericks are a team, they're a team that we play this Sunday. 12:30 game, Arizona time, by the way. But they're also the 10 seed right now, and the Suns are the 11 seed. So there's an opportunity for the Suns to gain some ground and potentially get in the play-in if Dallas continues to falter and the Suns can somehow play well enough through this tough stretch of a schedule to get in to that 10th spot. Because the NBA standings, essentially there's tiers right now. You have Oklahoma City. They're the first tier, right? Easily. You got that next tier, which is about 4 teams. And it's the Lakers, who are the 2 seed. Don't know if you guys knew that. They're the 2 seed. Denver, who's tied with the Lakers in games back, but they have one more loss than Lakers at this point. Memphis and Houston. That's the next 4. Like that's the next, tier, if you will. And, the Lakers and Denver, they're 11 games behind Oklahoma City. So it's like, it's Oklahoma City and then like everybody else. And then you got that next tier after LA, Denver, Memphis, and Houston. And that's the tier that the Suns are trying to get into. That's Golden State, who now holds the 6th seed, Minnesota, Sacramento, the Clippers, and Dallas. And that makes up the top 10. And the Suns are 3 games out of that, right? Dallas is the 10 seed, and they're 3 games better than the Suns right now. That's why Sunday's game is going to be important. But how the Suns close out this season is going to be vitally important. And the question we have to ask ourselves are, do we believe? Do we believe that a game like tonight, a galvanizing win, this has the potential to be a galvanizing win? Do we believe that this team has what it takes to navigate the toughest remaining schedule in the NBA? Because you take a look at their remaining schedule strength. God, every time I look at it, it gets higher. I think last time I did the podcast, the Suns' remaining strength of schedule was like 583. So they're like all opponents combined winning total was 58%. It's now 590. We have 3 easy games left on the schedule. And what do we have? 19 games left. We have 3 easy ones. We have one against Toronto, who we've lost to, one against the Bulls, who we beat by 4, and one against the Spurs, who we just lost to. We still got Cleveland once, OKC once, Boston twice, the New York Knicks once, the Lakers once, and the Nuggets once. And we also, it doesn't include this on the toughest opponents page on tankathon.com, we also have the Bucks twice. So could this be a galvanizing win? Sure. Are the odds in our favor? No. But you know what? At least for a night, we can enjoy it. We can enjoy a victory over a division rival. And just know that there's probably not a whole lot of these left this season. Let's talk about what's going on over on the LA Clippers subreddit.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
Over in Los Angeles, I said, what up to my Dodger friends? I said, hey man, Ohtani, bud, let's go win another World Series this year. And this is what they were saying over there. Plenty of comments. Which random bums player going to torch us tonight? Bol, Ryan Dunn, repeat? It was Collin Gillespie. And that's like before the game started. Another comment. Okay, this is a must-win for the Clippers. The Suns are a walking dumpster, but they still own the Clippers. Let's get them and their Taco Bell logo. It is kind of a Taco Belly logo, but I like that logo, and I like Taco Bell. Give me 2 cheesy gordita crunches. I mean, if you've listened to this podcast, you've literally heard me go through the Taco Bell drive-through after a game when I'm recording. I got lots of love for T-Bell. Kevin Durant looks so uninterested in playing. That was a comment early in the game. Whew, I'm sure that person took that comment back in the fourth quarter. This team makes me want to drink. Hey, you Suns fan too? You got to remember something about the Clippers. The Clippers, since the All-Star break, are 1-6 now. They've really fallen off. They're a good defensive team, but offensively, they haven't been productive. James Harden's shooting horribly and turning over the ball at a high rate. They've been injured. Norman Powell hasn't been playing, who's been a very effective player for them this season. So they're, as a fan base, they're kind of in a whirlwind themselves. Eubanks is ass. How can you be an NBA player and so unathletic? Sniper got Devin Booker. That's when he got hit in the face on a screen and fell down. Damn. Stan Van Gundy ranting on the Suns defense. Called them pathetic. Stan doesn't hold back in his commentary. I like it. I do like Stan Van Gundy. I will say that. Because he does keep it real more than others. And I feel like some people try to be... Like Richard Jefferson is just somebody who tries, I feel like, too hard. But he doesn't want to upset anybody because he's still friends with a lot of players. Like Stan Van Gundy comes at it from a coach perspective. And again, he had that valuable insight on the Kevin Durant, Mike Budenholzer altercation, as some are calling it online. But I would call it simply a coach-to-player interaction in the heat of a game. And he's just like, yeah, I used to get in fights once a game again with my players. Like, that's just, he's like, I can't tell you a game where that didn't happen. Just check the Suns subreddit. So see, even the opposing team checks the Suns subreddit. And somebody said, just check the Suns subreddit. They want Katie and Booker gone. Let's get in on those Booker sweepstakes. We can fix him. And somebody responded saying, Booker, we need a star for the future. No better market than LA. Remember that. Remember the grass ain't always greener. I know a lot of you are in team blow it up, man. I continue to see it online. Everyone thinks that blow it up, you'll get some quality pieces, you'll get some quality picks, and then we'll be fine. And it's just like, dude, unless I know exactly what those pieces are, I don't see it. I don't see the blow it up thing. I think you work as hard as you can this upcoming offseason on trading Bradley Beal. And if you can, you build around Katie and Book. It's going to be, I continue, and I talked about this in the last podcast. I'm working through all these different scenarios in my head because we have 2 months to do so, but because I want to kind of land on an island. You know, I want to be like, oh, keep Katie and Book Island, and this is my flag. I'll plant it on, knowing that I'll change it the next day. And that's okay to change. Remember that, Jamsters. You don't have to throw a line in the sand and then live behind that line. You can change your mind and be like, you know what, maybe we should get rid of Book. You know, like, I don't know, but it's okay too. And I see in Nefarious Max, Katie's gone for sure. We'll see. I hope not, but I'm guessing you might be right. Wow, we actually didn't end a quarter as an absolute disaster. Suns proving there are truly levels to being ass. Thankfully, the Suns are even more ass than we are. Royce O'Neal is a hoe. Incredible. In-fucking-credible. As the Suns were coming back in the fourth. And the final comment on the Clippers subreddit, fire Ty Lue.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
I mean, like, I'd take Ty Lue, wouldn't you? But of course, remember last subreddit, they were talking about how, hey, if the Suns, you know, this is the Timberwolves, they were like, hey, if the Suns fire Mike Budenholzer, we should get in on that. Again, the grass isn't always greener. All right, let's hand out some. This will be interesting. This is going to be a good one because there's some good candidates for the Jam Star this game.
Jam Star of the Game.
All right, Jamsters, a reminder, subscribe, rate, review, hit that thumbs up button. Please support the channel however you want to. If you don't want to, it's within your right. I understand it. You be a whore. You come in here and consume our content and don't give us any kudos. You're listening to this on Apple Podcasts? Yeah, you are? You haven't even gone down the page 5 episodes to where it gives you an opportunity to review. You just click the 5-star thing. It says, do you want to write a comment? You click to write a comment, you just go, yay. I don't give a shit. I want 5 people to say yay for the next review. I'm not asking for a ton. Just support the show, man. We're here for you every time. So who you guys giving the Jam Star of the game to? Let's see what we got here. Keith Nettles, D. Mark N. Gillespie for willing this team to victory. Jamstar. Saul H. Soto. Colin G. for me. David Ray. Plumley for Jamstar. KD for honorable mention. This is spam from Twitch. Cheap viewers on streamboo.com. Remove the space. Good job. Carson Fisher, Colin Gillespie, Colin for Nefarious Max, Maya B, me and Anthony Edwards goat, mine and Anthony Edwards goat, Kevin Durant. Khalid, got to give it to K, man, but Colin right up there. Yeah, so I land where it's Kevin Durant with Colin Gillespie. Fourth quarter, Colin Gillespie is an honorable mention without a doubt in this one. What Kevin Durant did in that fourth quarter was just elite basketball, elite. And I'm talking both ends of the floor. He's hustling, he's blocking shots, he's getting offensive rebounds and getting a putback. He's hitting the key assist in the game. This was a masterclass in the fourth quarter by Kevin Durant. And I know a lot of you assume that he's going to be gone after this season. Remember these games, man. I mean, we'll always remember how this season ended, but remember how good he is, because you're going to miss him when he's gone. I guarantee you that. Next up for the Phoenix Suns, they are playing what do we got? Is it Friday? We don't play till Friday. Friday at Denver, 8:00 game. Denver, obviously, a team, now it gets tough. We got Denver, we got that Dallas game, and then it's like Houston twice, the Lakers, OKC. I mean, it just gets harder and harder, but one game at a time. Denver, a team that we did beat on Christmas. There is an opportunity to where we can beat this team, and we'll see how it goes. But tonight was a good night. Enjoy this. And this is what I'll say. I'm thankful that the Suns won tonight in the way that they did, because we can enjoy it for the next 2 full days. They don't play till 8:00 on Friday. So you actually get like almost 3 full days of just enjoying this victory. So that's what I tell you, Jamsters. Enjoy this victory. Enjoy it. And while you're at it, go home and love your family.
Hey, you're listening to the Suns Jam Session Podcast, shooting the shit about the Suns since 2019.